Welcome, everyone, to episode 38 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. We are going to be talking about Monday Night Raw and NXT, the shows before we get to SummerSlam. And Monday Night Raw started off with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk. And Seth Rollins was letting everybody know what he was going to be doing as the special guest referee. But the most important thing about this segment were the threads that were being worn by Seth Rollins when he came down to the ring. It was magnificent attire, if you ask me. What did you think of those?
Oh, the puffy shoulders and the zebra boots. that was amazing.
Absolutely majestic. Seth Rollins made it sound like he was going to just be running amok as the special guest referee. Who knows what he's going to do, but it sounded like that he's going to heavily involve himself in the evening. But I mean, he doesn't like either guy, so I don't know exactly who he's going to attack, but someone's getting hit. I know that you have some thoughts about how you think Seth Rollins is going to have his involvement. So what do you think his involvement's going to be?
I think they're going to mirror the 97 SummerSlam, which it was Undertaker versus Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels was the guest referee. Shawn Michaels accidentally hits Undertaker with the chair when he was swinging for Bret Hart. Bret pins Taker, and Shawn reluctantly counted to 3. That led to it was at the time still In Your House, but In Your House Bad Blood, which was the first iteration of Bad Blood, which just so happens to be resurrected this year, and where the famous first Hell in the Cell match with Shawn Michaels versus Taker with the debut of Kane. And that was a number 1 contenders match to face Bret Hart for the title at Survivor Series, which led to the Montreal Screwjob. But
that was a hell of a 4 months of wrestling there for WWE back in '97. Good for them.
Yeah. And then that led to also, to close out the year, the introduction of the Mr. McMahon character. So,
yeah.
So, just don't know who between Drew and Seth who's going to be playing the role of the one taking the chair shot and getting screwed.
Yeah,
I could very well. There's a lot of people thinking you can't have Punk lose his first match back, but if it continues the story, and especially if there's interference involved with it, and it's not a clean, as long as it's not a clean loss, I have no problem with it. It is not going to damage his popularity. This isn't for a title. And you can make the argument that, that they just had, and plus Drew has, in the story, been getting embarrassed for the most part by Punk, with the exception of the incident in Chicago. So I just think that Rollins is going to end up inadvertently hitting Seth or doing something. I mean, Rollins is going to inadvertently do something to Punk, and he's going to have to do the 3 count. That's just my opinion. I think they're going to start a slow burn of what was intended to be for this year's Mania of Seth versus Punk. As much as I could watch those two go at it any day, but I truly think they're going to wait for the payoff for that. I do.
Is there any world where we get AJ Lee and the crowd panning over to her? Maybe he goes to kiss her after he wins, and then takes the bracelet off of Drew McIntyre or out of Drew McIntyre's pocket, takes it over to his wife, and kisses her. Do you think that's a possibility? I read that he was trying to get her back into the company.
I did. I saw that, and who knows? I mean, if it would be any place to have her make an appearance. They've been making it a point to kind of do big things at SummerSlam here. So I mean, we'll see. I just don't know. That this is a coin flip, but I definitely think they're going to follow in the footsteps of that stretch of wrestling in '97. Obviously, maybe not with the screw job, but they could do some. They could do some version of that. If they wanted to, but I mean, I just don't know if they'll take it that far. But I think definitely, I just don't think this cannot be an accident that they've got the similar stipulation, and then the following pay-per-view is the same following pay-per-view they had back then that they're just now bringing back. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, probably right. Right. We're going to find out soon. We are close. But next up, we got we got the Creed brothers with Chad Gable versus Otis and Akira Tozawa. This was a fun match. Creed brothers are good. Otis is good. Akira Tozawa, he's pretty good too. So there's some good talent in there. Obviously, these aren't main event guys, but they're doing good in their mid to lower mid card storyline. So good on them. And
I'm glad they're changing. See, it's just little things, man. And we talk about this a lot with NXT. Just a little tweak of the Creed brothers ring gear. The color scheme. So much better. Much better.
Yeah. And after the Creed brothers got the win, we got Maxine finally standing up to Chad Gable and give him a nice little smack in the face. So that was good to see.
Yeah, because that followed Gable putting Otis in the ankle lock, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is this when the Wyatts came out, or was that later?
No, that's now. That was now. The Fireflies hit. The ominous note began to play. Smoke began to engulf the canvas. And Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Loomis came down to the ring.
Lemus?
Dexy Lean. They took off their masks so that we could finally see who they were. Obviously, we knew who they were, but now we got to see who they were.
Chad Gable didn't know, as he brought up later.
He figured it out. He's the one who figured it out. We couldn't have done it without Chad Gable. But they removed their masks, and then Gable left the ring, backpedaling, only to be met by Uncle Howdy, who chased him off to end the segment. So I think that the thing now, or what everyone's saying, maybe they've always been saying this, is that the Wyatt Six is going to attack people who have turned on their family. I don't know if you read that theory, and because later
that goes along with one of the Bo Dallas vignettes. So
yeah, and there was one of the emblems for one of the characters was behind Dakota Kai later on in the show, who which I think fits that narrative if she might be their next target. She left somebody, right? Who was she with before Damage Control? Who did she turn on? Bailey, maybe? She turned on Bailey.
I mean, they all turned on Bailey, though.
Well, they can go after all of Damage Control.
So, wait, what emblem was behind her?
It was it's like Ramblin' Rabbit, I think.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't notice it. I saw somebody pointed out online. They circled it.
Dude, the only thing with that, and who knows, it could be, but well, we'll revisit that later in terms of them specifically. But I mean, I could see that, but I'm just trying to think how far that would go with existing storylines currently.
Well, we've always been concerned about them getting involved in the Bloodline storyline. Unfortunately, if that's what they're doing, then that could put them in the Bloodline storyline too.
Well, didn't they say they're specific, a Raw specific faction?
I guess that's true, but
Wait a second.
Jay turned on his family.
Turning on your family. What about Dom turning on his dad?
Yeah, that could be it.
Okay.
That could be it. Jay, he turned on his family.
Yeah, but
he turned on his family regardless of the reasons why.
Yeah, and who else? And then depending on what happens at SummerSlam, could be if Damian Priest gets screwed over by Finn or one of them.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know. There's a lot of options.
Or Kaiser turned on his former tag team partner. Whenever he comes back, Kaiser could be a potential future target.
He's not coming back. No one cares about Vinci.
No. I'm saying Ludwig Kaiser could be a target because of the turn.
Yeah. Oh, whenever Ludwig Kaiser comes back. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. A lot of options here. Yeah. Curious to see where they go with it. Stay away from the Bloodline storyline, and I'll be fine with it.
Yep. Me too.
Next up was Sheamus versus Big Bronson Reed.
This was good.
Yeah. I mean, Sheamus is good. Bronson's. I enjoy watching Bronson.
I do too.
He has a body type that is unique to me. Just a giant meatball. You don't see that often. Him and Otis would probably have some nice matches, but no, it's good. Reed got the win. Sheamus appears to be a jobber at this point in his career, but it reminds me of Big Show. When Big Show was here, they would always peg Big Show to be this awesome wrestler, and if you beat Big Show, that meant something. But Big Show probably didn't win a match for like the last 5 years of his career, and it never mattered when he was wrestling. But I just don't want them to make Sheamus a caricature of his former self. But I'm concerned that they could go that route.
No, they've got to, before it's said and done, they've got to get him the Intercontinental title. They have to. I mean, that's just he's been too steady of a hand for them and putting on arguably the best work of his career at the latter stages of it. And at some point, they've got to give him, even if it's not a long one, they've got to give him that belt.
Yeah.
That just in my opinion, but yeah, no, this match was good. Man, and you know, in a way it protected Sheamus because Pete Dunne hit him with whatever they were calling that thing.
Yeah.
What was that thing he was hitting him with?
I have no idea.
I was laughing though, whatever they kept saying.
Shillelagh or something?
Yeah, Shillelagh, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a little callback to the Brawling Brute days. And and so with that attack, in theory, if they wanted to, that could be another Wyatt target, Pete Dunne. But
yeah,
I mean, just depending on how long they're gonna keep this version of his character going, but it would give a good wrestler something to do, though, you know, because Pete Dunne's a fantastic wrestler. So, but no, glad Bronson got a win, and yeah, so I was good with it. Good with the interference storyline wise continuity. It made sense. So,
yeah. And that took us to the next match, which was main event Jey Uso Yeet versus Carlito. And yeah, it highlights the fact that Uso, one of the most over people on the roster who had a main event spot at last year's SummerSlam, will not be participating in this year's SummerSlam unless unless maybe he comes out during the main event. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will. He could.
I think it's too early for him to be drugged back into it. I mean, because
You got to have build up for that. He can't just get back into it and feel organic.
Unless Jimmy shows back up and starts getting just the crap beat out of him, I could see Jay coming and helping his brother.
Maybe.
But
here we saw Uso beat Carlito, which was no surprise. I mean, Carlito's not going to lose to Jimmy Uso, or at least not clean going to lose to... I'm sorry. Jay's not going to lose to Carlito, at least not clean, unless there's some involvement from the Judgment Day that would cause him to win. But even then, Judgment Day hadn't been getting too many wins recently in all these matches where they're supposed to be avenging the Judgment Day. It's just a weird dynamic, this whole Judgment Day thing, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's I'm ready for it to stop.
I am too.
It's just taken over Monday Night Raw. It's so many different segments, and they don't need it. Like none of them need to be in a faction. Like Ripley's the best women's wrestler on the planet. She doesn't need to be in a faction. Dom has the most heat in the entire company. He doesn't need to be in a faction. Finn Balor's one of the best singles competitors ever. He doesn't need to be in a faction. Priest, does he need to be in a faction? Probably not. I mean, I think that he might be the wild card out of this whole thing of who might actually be more successful in the Judgment Day, but everybody else is going to be more successful on their own. They don't need to be in this faction, and it needs to go away. I mean, Carlito's been in this business for 20 years, and they just throw him in the Judgment Day awkwardly. He doesn't need to be in there. JD McDonough, he might need to be in there, but he's super talented. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm just ready for this to end, and I think the end is near. Could be tomorrow. Or it could be at SummerSlam. I'm not sure, but it's close. It's close.
Yeah. Biggest issue and why I'm ready for it is the inconsistent booking. You have them lose individually constantly, or have them lose as a tag team, but then you have them win the tag team titles back. But then you're still having members consistently losing. And I don't... When you try to put them as like the top faction on the card, I want that faction to all be winning. Look at Friday nights, how they're booking that. That's how I think it should be. If you're going to give them that type of treatment, like you said, with all this backstage segments and this and that, I think they should be winning.
Yeah, I mean, the only one who consistently wins, they have two people who consistently win. Ripley and Priest. Outside of that, there's no credibility to their group. And, the faction...
Yeah, consistently. Yeah, I agree.
Faction can't succeed with only two members of a 6-man faction that are successor, or 5. How many other? 5? 6? Yes, around there. All right. Well, next up, we got a storyline that I thought was over with, but it will never be. It is Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross. This has to stop. And we've discussed this before. One of Triple H's biggest issues right now is he loves long-term storytelling too much. It doesn't know when to cut bait. And it is time to cut bait on this storyline because no one cares about it, and it's ruining, in my opinion, the credibility of the New Day, which I didn't think that could be tarnished, but they're trying to. They're trying to, because I don't care about them at this point. And I used to really care about the New Day. They used to be awesome, and now I cringe when they get on TV because I know who they're going to be with. So Kross pins Xavier Woods. Match was fine, I guess.
It's just, I agree, man. It's like I'm completely uninvested in this for multiple reasons. Number one, just the way it started to begin with was weird. I mean, I honestly thought there was going to be some sort of payoff with Xavier maybe joining them. But now, I don't, as foolish as that sounds, yes, I was like, okay, well, they got to be going somewhere with this. And because it was just so random. Another reason I'm ready for it to end is because I look at that group And I can't help but think, I wouldn't bat an eye with the look and the talent involved. And if they put the world heavyweight title on Cross and the tag team titles on AOP, I'd have no business with that and let them have a sustained run. Cross is
not happening.
No, I know it's not, but I'm just saying, like, from a look and in-ring ability, AOP's like these big monsters that had a phenomenal run in NXT, and I was like, man, they are going to transition well to the main roster, and the booking has not been good. Same with, I don't know if it's as bad as Cross, but I just don't understand. They know how to do it because it's worked. And I don't care if it was in NXT, if they would have just done the exact same thing. Those were two things that would have easily transitioned as is.
Mm-hmm.
And they just completely dropped the ball. And that's why I was like, just let this end. Please find them something better to do, and quick.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But they're going to have to end it sometime. And
maybe.
And so it's funny because, I mean, when it came to the New Day, in my opinion, I thought the clear number 3 was always Xavier Woods. And now with Big E out, then it's just who's left? It's Kofi and Xavier. They really have nothing for Kofi, and they're just, I guess they want to get Xavier Woods involved. I mean, I always thought that Xavier Woods was better off camera with his up, down, down podcast or video game channel. And obviously I always viewed him as being more of a comic relief for the New Day with his trombone and everything like that. But I never really reviewed him as a wrestler. I mean, when it was time for them to go out there and wrestle, I felt like it was always Big E and Kofi, and then Xavier was just always on the side. But they're trying to get him some run, which is fine, I guess. But this just isn't the way. This isn't the way. We'll see. We'll see where they go with this. But next up, we got Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio. And going back to what we were talking about with Judgment Day, another Judgment Day segment, another Judgment Day loss. And I understand that it was a DQ loss, but a loss nonetheless. Sami was about to get the win. Judgment Day interfered. Jey Uso comes down to make the save. Braun Breaker comes down too. It was just kind of setting things up for what's going to be happening at SummerSlam, so I get that, but it just rubs me the wrong way, but I just don't get how they try to make this faction relevant, but they just always lose. And I guess that there's tag team champions are in there, but I mean, they weren't doing anything before those tag team. They just kind of one day were like, let's go get the tag team titles. Okay. And they got them. So, it is what it is. But what did you think of Sami versus Dominic?
I mean, the match was fine. I enjoyed it, but I mean, the result was never in doubt to me. Like it.
No.
I mean, in terms of we knew Dominic was not going to get a clean win. That was 100% a given, and knew somehow Breaker was going to get involved, but it was fine. And I know it's building to Saturday, but it was fine. Nothing. I mean, it was typical good Raw match.
Yeah. One thing I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, when we did predictions for SummerSlam, and I had said that Ripley was going to win. One thing that I forgot about was Finn Balor, and I just remembered Finn Balor. Now what I think is going to happen is Finn Balor is going to interfere, help Liv, and Liv is going to win. Obviously, I'm not going to change our prediction video, but that is what I think is going to happen now. I totally forgot that there has to be some payoff for all that Finn Balor's been doing. It has to happen at some point.
Oh, I was thinking, I mean, I agree that Finn's going to have have a say in one of the two matches, either Rhea and Liv or Damian and Gunther, and I was leaning more towards him screwing Priest.
I just think with the hotel key and him always popping up where Liv is, I think that it would be logical for him to help Liv at some point, since he hasn't done that up to this point, and him defending her. And also, I don't know if you saw the clubhouse. One thing we hadn't talked about yet: the clubhouse was vandalized, and
yes, it was.
There was a picture of all of the Judgment Day members in the clubhouse, and there was only one person whose face was not vandalized, and that was Finn Balor's.
I did not notice that.
Yes, everybody else's face
had
some sort of graffiti over it, but Finn Balor's was still clean as a whistle.
Okay.
So that was another. I don't know if that was intentional. It probably was, because I don't think at this point, I don't think that Triple H does anything unintentionally.
Right.
So we'll see where they go with that. The attention's in the details now at WWE. They've kind of made like a murder mystery show at this point. You gotta look at all the details, which I enjoy. What I don't enjoy, though, is matches involving Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, Katana Chance, Carter, and Valkyria, which is what we got next. The match is fine. I'm kidding. The match is fine. But I just feel like they're going down, and we talked about this last week, they're just going down a road with Valkyria that I don't like. And
I don't either.
It started off so promising for her career, and now it's taking the turn that a lot of wrestlers, it's a road that a lot of wrestlers go down. And they start off hot, and then management says, "Oh, I don't care about you anymore," and then you never hear from them again. And it just seems, not never hear from them again, but they never have a prominent role again. I think that's where they're going to be going with Valkyria. And
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's definitely salvageable with her, especially because I think an easy solution here, because first of all, she's too talented, and she's going to end up being okay. But I think inevitably what they're going to do is they're going to turn her heel. Is my opinion. At some point they're going to turn her heel, and I just don't see a world where it's not her versus Becky Lynch at some point down the road.
No,
that's just my belief. But yeah, and again, the match was fine, but I'll address this match specifically later on in the show. But just there were some parts that just seemed to me like pacing was off a little bit, and just I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to explain it, but it just didn't seem to me in all parts of it to be gelling, or maybe that's just the fact the crowd was not that into it. That just kind of gives me a jaded opinion of it, but overall it was fine. But again, this is something like I just get tired of seeing the same revolving door of factions having matches either all against each other or one against the other and this and that just over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And but we'll see. Yeah, Stark hit her finisher and got the pinfall here, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And see, I don't have a problem with them winning, because that is their new faction.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Valkyria just kind of joined up with
Chance and Carter.
Yeah, Chance and Carter, and so we'll see. But I'm just growing a little tired of this, and yeah, hopefully Valkyria can bounce back and get in a more meaningful feud.
Yeah. Speaking of meaningful feuds, we got another Judgment Day segment with. Well, first of all, let's talk about the backstage segment first, because it's just lunacy, the backstage segment, where um, Ripley and Priest are letting Finn Balor know that he has his back, and then Balor gets upset thinking that they don't have any confidence in him. When for 3 months, Damian Priest has been saying that he doesn't need help, but Finn Balor continues to try to help him. So the hypocrisy in that is just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't even know if the WWE did that intentionally. I don't think they did, but I don't know if they see that hypocrisy that Finn Balor's like, do you think I'm not good enough? When for months he's been trying to help Damian Priest, and Damian Priest has been saying, no, dude, I need to do this by myself. So it's stupid that they would do that and make a mistake like that, a continuity mistake like that, unless it's intentional. And this one I really don't think is, even though just a second ago I said that Triple H does most things intentionally.
Or maybe, I mean, unless you look at it from the viewpoint of, okay, Priest is adamant, oh, I don't need help. And if that's the case, if he feels that about himself, him saying that to Finn, hey, I got your back. I mean, he's saying, I don't want your help. So by him offering it up, that could be viewed as, oh, so you're good enough to go out there on your own, but you don't think I am. But no, I see on the surface, though, yeah, it is kind of like, wait a second. But
yeah,
I mean, that at least that to try to make it make sense, what I just said, I'm going to go with that version of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know. But ultimately, Gunther got the win, which drew out Damian Priest to come into the ring. Priest and Gunther started battling as the show went off the air. So good on them. It should be a fun match between.
Oh, that was the last match of the night?
Yeah, it's main event.
Oh, I mean, we've covered all the matches up to that point?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing something. Oh, they had a Wyatt 6 video with Dexter Loomis. This short one, but it was about
a short one
about a Mercy Buzzard.
Yeah.
Did we miss some? Was it this week or last that they attacked Zelina Vega and broke her arm or whatever? Was that this week?
I thought it was last week. Was it this week? I think that was last week.
Okay, I feel like somebody challenged. Who challenged? Who challenged Sonya Deville next week to a match?
Well, that segment ended with Damage Control coming out, and
yes, that's right.
Apparently they turned babyface,
dude. I'm beyond confused about that.
Why are they running the heels out the ring other than they don't know what they're doing and have no direction for Damage Control?
I mean, unless, okay, and I guess the way that I'm going to convince myself to make it make sense is, okay, you're coming in here trying to be top female faction. Nope, that's us. You're moving in on our turf, kind of a thing.
A heel versus heel situation is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, but didn't, in all fairness, wasn't it kind of heel versus heel when, no, they were faces at that point. Never mind. I was going to say when it was the Shield versus the Wyatts.
When were the Shield heels?
Actually, when they were coming out the stands and attacking like Sheamus and John Cena, and they were without a doubt heels when they first came.
Yeah, I guess, but they were definitely not heels when they ended.
No. And that's why I was trying to, because because Rollins turned, but I was just trying to think of like 3-on-3, like heel versus heels, but and anyways, so I don't know, but I could see that potentially, like, hey, no, you're not running things here, we still are, but very interested to see where they go if because I have not seen that clip of Ramblin' Rabbit in the background by Dakota Kai, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'll find it later and send it to you. I'm not making it up.
oh,
Or maybe I am. All
but
right.
the Gunther Balor match, I had extreme issues with this. It was good, but if I heard right, that was the first time they faced each other in singles competition.
Makes sense.
Gunther had a great promo, the old empty arena promo beforehand, talking about Balor, how he used to look up to Balor, how Balor's one of the most gifted wrestlers, and now he's part of Judgment Day. He's like, yeah, I understand you're at one half of the tag team champions, but you were destined for greater things.
Mm-hmm.
And good promo, but especially guys of that caliber for their first match, I don't like being given like a little taste. Like if that was the case, that should have been on a PLE, in my opinion. Just they're both too talented, and dude, but based on the crowd reaction, man, and just kind of some of the stuff going on, like he was working babyface. It felt like, which was weird to me, or maybe it's just because like the crowd like is embracing Gunther as a heel and booing him more because of recent promos and everything. But it was, I mean, the crowd was fully behind Balor in this match.
Well, of course they were.
But I mean, it's like, was that intentional? Because if so, then that kind of makes me second guess. Okay, well, is he going to turn on somebody this weekend? But
I mean,
again,
they've done such a weird job
guessing.
booking Judgment Day that you never know if they're a babyface or if they're heel. I mean,
yeah, it keeps me guessing. I like that.
They've switched Damian Priest from heel to babyface. Ripley has always been a tweener.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they wanted her to be a heel, but the fans just absolutely love her, so she can't be. Dominic is a heel, obviously, but
yeah,
even him, like, I mean, he's just dominant. You know, it's he's not like your traditional heel, even though he gets traditional heel heat. Carlito, he's making jokes all the time, so I mean, he's got a lot of babyface tendencies, and it's just the things that he says. He's kind of the comic relief of the whole situation. It's JD McDonough. I mean, he's probably the most heel out of all of them, if we're being honest. So I mean, it's
at this point, I agree with that. Yeah.
So
definitely.
I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, Judgment Day is almost over. Seems like ages ago when Edge started this faction, and
it
probably was ages ago. Probably like 4 years now, but I digress. Let's move on to the Great American Bash, and
let's do it.
Night one of the Great American Bash is 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right. Well, week one started off with the Unholy Union versus Meta-4. So
this was good.
It was good, but I don't know why we're calling Elwood Fire and Dawn the Unholy Union.
They've been calling them that.
No, I know they have been. I just doesn't make it good. It's not. It's a stupid name. Let's call them Fire and Dawn. But no, this is a good match that saw Dawn and Fire get the win. I didn't see the women's tag titles changing hands to another NXT team. You would think that main roster title, when they ultimately do lose, will be to a main roster tag team, I would think.
Right. I agree. But this was a lot better than I expected it to be. But again, that's on WWE for the way they booked Fire and Dawn. They're very talented. I have no issues with them putting the tag team championships on them, but they just, just the way they've kind of been booked has been less than desirable. for what you would want in your tag team champion since they won it in Scotland. But this was a great match and a great reminder of, hey, they're good. Did you see some of those moves Lash was doing I was telling you about?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, because, again, like I said, I understand she's smaller than her, but still, Dawn is not a small girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, I mean, and when I say that, you know, she's not as tiny, like tiny thin, like Alba Fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that I was impressed. It was very, very good, and I thought Metaphor did very good keeping up with the more, you know, experienced wrestlers in there, and did very well. Great. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous that they put that on first. I was
Why?
like, ooh, because just they have such a tendency to deliver on the first matches of their PLE, and just when you have definitely more of the veteran tag team going against a less experienced duo like that, who I don't know if they've really had any matches before with each other.
Yeah.
And especially with them playing double duty, you know, how much time do they really have to, you know, collectively among the four prepare? I was kind of a gamble, but it paid off for sure. It was good. Great way to kick off the show.
It was. We got a few backstage segments after this. Or not backstage, but just additional segments after this. One of which featured Ethan Page, who got rolled up by Oro Mensah. Again, 1, 2, 3.
Was this the one where the ref actually counted?
Yes.
What was that?
I don't know. It's funny.
Oh, no, it was hilarious.
I enjoy
like,
it.
What is going on?
I enjoy it.
This would not be as funny if it wasn't Ethan Page.
Oh, 100%. 100%. What are they doing with Oro Mensah? Are they really going to give Oro Mensah a title shot? Is that really what they're going to do?
Yeah, they I think later in this show they do the contract signing.
No, I understand. But they're really doing that, though?
Like, yeah, they are.
Might as well just have them fight Dante Chen again. Like, what are we doing? Is Oro Mensah
It'll be a good match. And
maybe.
And it's just, again, this is just giving him some wins as champion before Trick inevitably gets it back.
Yeah, probably right. Probably right. What do we get next? Next up, we got the Heritage Cup.
This
the
was
Don
good.
was on TV. The Don was on television.
Yes, he was.
Did you know he was still with the company? I had forgotten he was still with the company. Oh, actually, how could I forget? They put him on all the promotional material.
They put him on every poster and TV commercial.
They just forget to put him on TV. That's the problem.
Yeah, at least in a match. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched this with my sons, and I was trying to explain to them a match type that I don't really understand myself. So that was always fun. Dad, why is the clock counting, Dad? Why is there a score over there? What's happening? What happens when it goes down to 0? I don't know the answer to any of your questions, kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I actually like these Heritage Cup matches. It's just, it can be a little confusing. I don't know exactly like when it ends. But, you know, to me, it reminds me of like tennis. Like, if you don't know how to score tennis, you know, it's tough to look at a tennis scorecard and figure out exactly what's going on.
I agree.
So that's what I think it's like. That's what I equate it to.
Now, who did the Don fight from No Quarter Catch Crew? Tavion Williams?
Tavion Heights.
Tavion Heights. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, he's green, but he did good. The Don did good. Obviously, the Don's going to carry that match.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, he was very good. Held his own, and like I said, that was an impressive belly to belly. It looked good.
Yeah.
And it was very believable that got a pinfall.
Mm-hmm.
And because dude, he's got the look, man. I think if with proper polishing, they've got something good there, man. I think he's a future star if they you know, treat him right.
Yeah, they're not going to treat him right. I'll just I'll dissuade you of the notion that they might treat him right. They're not going to. Don't worry. Do not worry. But the Don ended up retaining his Heritage Cup. I am very concerned that the person who's going to take his Heritage Cup away from him is Charlie Dempsey. And I think that they are setting it up for that. And
I am too, dude.
That's going to mean that one, we're going to get a promo after he wins it, and two, we're going to get a lot more talking for Charlie Dempsey, and that is a fear of mine. I wake up in a cold sweat thinking I'd rather get bit by a bat than have him as my Heritage Cup champion, but that's where we're going. That's where we're going, and that's undeniable.
But if that either gets the Don called up or back in the main title scene, or much as I love Obafemi, I would be okay from a believability standpoint, the Don beating him.
Yeah, he could beat him. They're about the same size.
I could. That'd be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good one. That'd be another great one to open a PLE with, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
But
a lot of options.
Yeah, no, I agree, though. I think ultimately, considering they keep ramming his promos down our throat every week, that ultimately Dempsey is going to get it back. Which if they just had him wrestle, I'd have no issue with that at all. But they don't.
Yeah.
They
have him do more.
Continue to have him talk. So
yeah,
and make those weird facial expressions.
But I think, like you predicted maybe a long time ago, the savior for Charlie Dempsey is no other than his father, William Regal, to act as his mouthpiece.
Yes.
That'll work.
And if they incorporate him prior to the cup helping and essentially helping him retain the cup, I'm perfectly okay with that too.
Yeah. 100%.
But I'm just wondering how far they're going to take what's her name that witnessed the dumping into the trunk, and then she got in there and slapped tights to get him pumped up.
Already forgotten.
I'm just wondering where they're going with that. But anyways, we can. God, what is her name? I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, what was next?
Next was a pre-tape promo where Pete Dunne challenged Trick Williams, and Trick accepted. So Pete Dunne is so mad that Trick Williams asked him for a little bit of advice that he's made it his life's duty to destroy him, and now he's getting a match.
Was this where they showed the vignette for Dunne?
Yes.
I liked that a lot, actually.
It's good.
It actually made sense.
Which is rare.
Yeah, and so, no, I thought that was good. And this should be a good match, and I'm hoping it is. I really am. But I'm looking forward to it. It did its job. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One thing I also know that you're looking forward to was Cedric Alexander versus Brooks Jensen, which came up next. Said he got the win.
Okay. And again, me and you have talked about this. It was great. Or it was good. I liked the match. I don't know if I'd necessarily say it was great, but it was good. You make such a big deal of these random, like, trying to get over the barricade when he may or may not still be with the company, and doing this thing like he's an alcoholic or whatever they were doing, and bringing him back, and he loses his first match, rightfully wins the match with Briggs. And I was like, okay, well, storyline, I can take that first loss because now they're going to run him off a string of wins. But then he loses again.
Yeah.
And he loses again. I don't get it. But they did the same crap with Sean Spears when he came back.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean Spears' coat was incredible. That, oh my gosh, dude! That was something. I was like, God, I gotta get me one of those. It looked like a full length coat with no sleeves. like a suit coat is what I'm saying for our 4 listeners. But oh, dude, that was good. And the look on his God, he's got some great facial expressions. The look on his face when Jensen lost.
Yeah.
It was good. But dude, the match was fine. And if they hadn't been building up Jensen and having such heavy involvement with him interfering in matches and I wouldn't have had a problem with Alexander winning. But it's the way he was booked leading up to this that I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I like Cedric Alexander. I don't mind him winning.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. Next up, we got something a little bit different, though. It was the Joe Hendry live concert.
This is awesome. With Booker T on the thing.
Yeah, it's good. It was good.
Oh.
I don't know if Booker T's a fan of Joe Hendry. He keeps bashing him. So
yeah, exactly. It's been a running gag, and it's great.
Oh, good running gag.
But the concert was interrupted by your favorite, Gallus.
Gallus, yeah. limit the amount of segments, and then we're good.
Yeah. But again, dude, they're another one. They made such a big deal about them when they came back, and they just keep losing. And I have a very hard time believing that Joe Hendry is going to lose next week.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So
you never know.
But I mean, I like Gallus. I do. I don't like the way they've been booked, but I did like this segment. I enjoyed it. And just the disappointment later when Joe Hendry was recapping that his concert getting ruined, he just looked so upset and sad. So it was good, man. I enjoyed it.
And let's move on to something that I did not enjoy, which was Jada Parker versus Kendall Gray. I don't think this needed to be on a PLE.
I think with it being 2 weeks, they just want to get Jada Parker on TV
and give people more ring time
and get her a win. And well, I think
that with your time.
These are just placeholders for her because I think ultimately she's going to dethrone Kalani Jordan.
Okay.
So that's what I believe. So
yeah.
And then because next week I believe it's Tatum Paxley versus Kalani for the women's North American title. I just don't see Kalani losing it this soon. But again, they're dropping the ball with Paxley's booking as well. Cause I mean, I don't know, but anyways, I think they're just trying to keep Jada on television until she ultimately dethrones Kalani. That's my prediction. You heard it here first, folks.
You're probably right.
And she hit it. You saw how she won with that hypnotic.
Yeah. That's the exact name of a move that I would expect to come from Triple H. I'll say that. Oh, her signature move, the fried chicken. No. Next up, we got Lola Vice, Sol Ruka, and Carmen Petrovich versus Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. The Henley, Jane, and Nix got the win. This wasn't bad.
This was very good. And earlier I said I wanted to revisit the six women tag match from Raw. And I said that because of this match. When you have the women who are prominently featured on Raw and are on the main roster, 4 of which are established or members of established tag teams with and the match on Raw, you should not be getting outperformed in a match like that by the women on NXT, in my opinion. But that's exactly what happened. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, the talent pool in the women's division on NXT, if they start getting called up, there's going to be some people either getting sent back down to NXT or getting shown the door because there's not enough room for them. And I know it could just be a one-off thing, but that's the first thing I saw because I watched NXT first. And so I saw, because I watched that live, and then I saw that, I was like, man, that was good. And then I saw the Raw one, and I was like, that they should not be getting outperformed by that much of a margin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But by NXT. Now, don't get me wrong. Hey, I am a huge proponent, huge fan of the NXT women's division. But I just, that said, I don't think they should have outperformed them by that wide of a, what I figured to be that wide of a margin. It just shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But
it was good though.
Yeah.
Very good match.
Moving on to the main event already. We're already here.
Oh, okay.
It was the NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez versus Thea Hale. And you had warned me about this match prior to me seeing it, that it was good. And you're right, that there was a lot of... Roxanne Perez is a good scrambler on the ground where she can scramble from one hold to the next, or from one, just transition from one move to the next. She's really good at doing that. It's a tough trait. I wonder if she has any type of actual wrestling background, or something, because she seems to get that pretty well. And I thought Thea Hale was really good in this. Her and we talked about this before, her facial expressions can be over the top, but when she's in the heat of battle, she does a good job with them.
I agree. 100% agree with you. And I thought
much better job.
It was everything she did in the ring, facial expression wise, and all the in-ring psychology stuff was on point with both of them in this. And dude, they're both young. They're both talented. Like you said, both scramble well on the ground and everything. And I don't know what the end game is with who is going to take the title off of Roxanne, but assuming they're both in NXT long enough for this to be revisited amongst those two, and it happened, I think if there were two that have the stamina and would have the involvement of the crowd to do it, they should revisit the Iron Woman match with these two. I think they would be deserving of that spotlight. And dude, the crowd wanted Thea. Well, I take that back. Well, there were dueling chants, but they were definitely more in favor of Thea.
As they should be.
Yeah.
She's the babyface.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And before this, though, did you see the way it ended? Like I said, that transition, pushing off the rope and going up into pop rocks. That was great. I don't know.
That was good.
I don't know who came up with that ending, but whoever did should get a bonus. That was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
That match was great, and I liked how they teased, like Thea maybe doing something a little over the top or underhanded in that pre-match promo when Rich Hall was like, "Do whatever it takes," and then Andre Chase is like, "Whatever it takes, huh, Ridge?" So I thought that was good and a good tease, but no, there was none of that, and so I thought it was just a good match, and
it was. It was a good way to end the show, which means they're likely going to end with men on Tuesday, since they ended with women this week. Or do we already know what the main event's going to be next week? Is that going to be Ethan Page versus Ora Mensah?
I would guess, and the main reason I don't have an issue with that is because they've actually been building to this for a little while now between those two. So I think and dude, and the crowd is behind it with the 1, 2, 3 chants and stuff like that. So I mean, I would imagine that is going to be an event. Does Obafemi have a match next week?
I don't know,
because I haven't heard him announce it.
I haven't heard anything either. It does not mean that he does not.
Yeah, I don't see how he's not on a card that is lasting 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unless he's hurt and they're not saying anything.
I remember they're trying to repackage and re-debut him where he doesn't have his fake accent.
Boy,
Yeah, you never know.
But dude, with that said, even though I think the two women's matches will be very good at SummerSlam, I don't see a world where it surpasses that. Because there's going to be shenanigans of some type in both of those matches tomorrow.
Yeah.
And okay, I don't want to say there's no world. I think Bayley and Nia, they've wrestled enough over the years. I think they'll put on a very good match. But I just, in terms of like the perfectly timed false finishes and all that and some of the reversals and things like that, you're just not going to get that with these two.
Right.
And I like that stuff. That ending spot that we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That may be my favorite spot of the year in terms of an ending to a match. I mean, right. I wasn't expecting it at all. I either thought it was going to be the old she just dragged her back to the middle of the ring to get the submission, or else Thea was going to break the hold. But yeah. I did not see that coming. That surprised me. And then the way it's just such a smooth transition into the finish, I thought it was very, very good. And one of my favorites of the year for sure. Like, definitely, at least top 5, like that I can think of offhand. So
it was good. It was good, and it was also the end, and it wrapped up episode 38 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. You know what time it is. If you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that bell icon, turn your notifications on, and we will see you next week on the Golden Squeeze podcast.
Don't forget to watch SummerSlam tomorrow.
SummerSlam.
Our recap video coming in a few days, hopefully.
Ooh.
And give an extra like because Josh made it through this video.
Barely.